Now we're going to look at the exact values of trigonometric ratios. It is good to know the exact values. Obviously, you've got a calculator, so you can just type in sine 30 and find out what it is using the calculator. But this is good to know. So imagine we have an equilateral triangle. So all the angles are going to be 60 degrees. And I'm going to make the lengths 2 units. Then I'm going to cut this triangle in half. So I'm going to split it down the middle. So we're going to have a 90-degree angle. We'll have our 60 that we started with here, and the 60 degrees at the top we've cut in half. So we've got 30 degrees on both sides. This 2 units at the bottom has been split in half, so it's 1 on each side. So now we know the hypotenuse is 2. We've got one length here, which is 1. And we can find this missing length using Pythagoras. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So this length here, let's call it a squared plus 1 squared equals 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Take away 1 squared, so take away 1 is 3. So a squared is 3. A must be square root 3. So this length is square root 3. Now we can just write down all the values of sine, cosine, tan 30 and sine, cosine, tan 60. So let's say we're looking at this 30-degree angle here. We can say cos 30 is ca, the adjacent, which is square root 3, over the hypotenuse. So it's a divided by h, which is square root 3 over 2. So cos 30 is square root 3 over 2. Sine 30 is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The opposite is 1. The hypotenuse is 2. So sine 30 is a half. And tan 30 is TOA. Opposite over adjacent. The opposite is 1. The adjacent is square root 3. That's 1 over square root 3. And if we rationalize the denominator on that, it would be timesing top and bottom by root 3, square root 3 over 3. We can do the same for 60 degrees. So we can say cos 60 is ca, the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent is 1 now. The hypotenuse is 2. That's a half. Sine 60, so the opposite, square root 3, over the hypotenuse over 2. And tan 60 is TOA, the opposite, square root 3, over the adjacent, which is 1. I'm not going to write over 1, I'll just leave it as square root 3. Now let's imagine a different right angle triangle. Let's have 1, 1. So it's an isosceles this time, which means that we've got a 45-degree angle. And again, Pythagoras will tell us the hypotenuse. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 1 squared plus 1 squared equals c squared. So c squared is 2. C is square root 2. So now we can write down cos 45, which is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, 1 over root 2. Or if we rationalize, square root 2 over 2. Sine 45 is exactly the same. And tan 45 is opposite over adjacent, 1 divided by 1, which is 1. So now we've got some questions. Without using a calculator, work out the exact value of sine 120. So let's use our cast diagram. So sine 120, that's 0, 90, 180, 270, and back to 360. So 120 will be here. So to get to 180, it's 60 more. So the acute angle with the x-axis is 60 degrees. Sine is positive, and it's also positive in the first 90 degrees. So sine 120 is equal to sine 60. And sine 60 is square root 3 over 2. So let's look back. Sine 60 is square root 3 over 2. So it's square root 3 over 2. Cos 225. So again, a cast diagram. That's 180. It's 45 more than 180. And cos is negative. Cos is negative in between 180 and 270. So it's going to be a negative version. So it's the same as the negative version of cos 45. And cos 45 was square root 2 over 2. We just check back. Cos 45 is square root 2 over 2. So it's the negative version. So it's negative square root 2 over 2. Tan negative 30. So negative 30 is here. 30-degree angle with the x-axis. And tan is negative in this quadrant. Only cos is positive, so tan is negative. So it's a negative version of tan 30. So it's a negative version of square root 3 over 3. Negative square root 3 over 3. And sine 110. So 0, 90, 180. And we've got 30 more. So it's a 30-degree angle, and sine is negative. So it's the negative version of sine 30. Sine 30 is a half. So it is minus a half. And we can check our answers on the calculator. So sine 120 was our first one. It's square root 3 over 2. Then we had cos 225, which is negative root 2 over 2. Tan negative 30 is negative square root 3 over 3. And sine 210 is minus a half. 4 for you to try. Pause the video and give them a go. So we have tan 240. So it's 180 here. 240 is 60 more. So tan is positive. Tan is positive between 180 and 270. So it's the same as tan 60. And tan 60 is square root 3. So the answer, square root 3. Cos 150. 150 is 30 before the 180. Cos is negative. So it's a negative version of cos 30. And cos 30 is square root 3 over 2. So it's negative square root 3 over 2. Sine 135. So it's 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. 135 is 45 away from 180. The acute angle of the x-axis is 45 degrees. Sine is positive, so it's the positive version of sine 45, which is square root 2 over 2. And finally, sine 300. So 300 is 60 back from 360. It's 60 degrees. Sine is negative, so it's a negative version of sine 60, which is negative square root 3 over 2. And again, you can check your answers on the calculator. So tan 240, square root 3, cos 150, negative square root 3 over 2, sine 135, square root 2 over 2, and sine 300, negative square root 3 over 2.